Hello friends and very warm welcome to you all. In today's session we are going to explore some of the most important Microsoft Excel formulas. Not only we will see each formula but we will also go through the real example along with clear step-by-step explanation of how they actually work. So without any further delay, let's dive straight into learning Excel formulas in depth. First one is the most fundamental formulas, sum function. The sum function is one of the most widely used Excel functions. It provides a reliable way to calculate totals across rows, columns or complex data ranges. By automating addition, it reduces human error and saves time, forming the foundation for more advanced functions like average, count and sum if. Okay. This is the formula. Suppose you have a sales data in a sales as like this. Item A and B sales. Item as apples, bananas, grapes and mangoes, and their respective sales are 120, 90, 150 and 140. Now you want the total sales. So the formulas to be used in cell B6 is sum B2 to B5. B2 to B5 is a range reference, meaning it covers all sales from B2 to B5. B2 is equal to 120, B3 is equal to 90, B4 is equal to 150 and B5 is 140. The sum function internally performs 120 plus 90 plus 150 plus 140, which is equal to 500. So the result 500 is displayed in the cell where the formulas was entered, that is B6. Okay. So the question arises here is why sum instead of B2 plus B3 plus B4 plus B5? So it is easier to write and read, especially for a long ranges, for example 100 rows, flexible if new data is added to the range. The formula updates automatically if you expand the reference, and it reduces the chances of typing errors. Next is the sum if function. The sum if function adds up the values in a range that meets a specific condition or the criteria. It is useful when you want conditional summation, such as sum only the sales for apples or sum sales greater than 100, like that. Okay. Range is the cell to evaluate against the condition. Criteria is the condition that determines which cell will be sum. Like it can be a number which is greater than 100, text like apples, or expression like less than equal to 200. Okay. And sum range is the actual cells to sum. If omitted, Excel sums the range itself. For example, consider the same cell data, item A and sales B. Now we want to calculate the total sales of apple. So the formula to be used is like this: sum if A2 to A6, apples and B2 to B6. Here A2 to A6 is the Excel checks each item's name. So criteria apples tends to only row containing apples are considered. Here B2 is equal to 120 and B4 is equal to 150 and B6 is equal to 200. Then calculation perform as 120 plus 150 plus 200, which is equal to 470. So the result 470 is displayed in the cell. Okay. If sum range is omitted, Excel sums the range itself. For example, sum if B2 to B6 greater than 100 will judge some values in B2 to B6 that satisfies the condition. Criteria must be quote if you use the operators like greater than 100 or less than 200 or the text apples. Cell reference can be used for dynamic criteria. For example, sum if A2 to A6 C1 B2 to B6 works with the wildcards such as asterisk, any sequence of characters, and question mark, any single character. Okay. Next is the average function. The average function simplifies finding the central tendency of data. Instead of calculating totals and dividing manually, average ensures the faster, error-free and automatic results, making it essential in data analysis. Okay. Using that same sales data, let's understand the concept. Average B2 to B5. B2 to B5 refers to the range 120, 90, 150 and 140. Excel internally performs sum, which is equal to 120 plus 90 plus 150 plus 140, which is equal to 500. Count, which is equal to 4 numbers, and step 3 is the divide, that is 500 divided by 4, which is equal to 25. So the final result is 125. So the question arises here is, why use average instead of manual calculation? If you manually write B2 plus B3 plus B4 plus B5, which is divided by 4, it works, but average B2 to B5 is cleaner, shorter, and adjusts automatically if you add or remove the values. Okay. Next function is if function. The if function adds decision making ability to Excel. It is the foundation of conditional logic in spreadsheet and is crucial for granting systems, eligible checks, financial analysis, and dashboards. Suppose you want to check whether the each fruit sales in column B are greater than 100. If B2 is greater than 100, pass and fail. Here condition is B2 is greater than 100, which tend to is 120 greater than 100, tends to true. Okay, so if true, then it will pass. If false, then it tends to fail. So result here is pass. When dragged down, banana tends to 90, which is not greater than 100. So here the condition fails. And grapes is 150, tends to pass. Mangoes 140, tends to pass. The logical test B2 is greater than 100 checks each cell value. Excel evaluates condition tends to return true or false. So based on the result, true tends to return pass and false tends to return fails. Okay. So the next is VLOOKUP function. The VLOOKUP is a powerful search tool in Excel. It helps in finding data quickly from large tables commonly used in billing reports and database lookups. Suppose you have a product price list like this. Now if you want to find the price of product ID 103, so the formula is VLOOKUP 103 A2 to C5 3 false. Here 103 is the lookup value, the value you want to find. A2 to C5 is the table array, the range of data. 3 here is the col index num, that is the column number in the table array from which to return the data, which tends to price is in the third column. Next is the false, that is the exact match required. So the Excel research in the first column A2 to E5, A2 to A5 for 103. Finds it in a rows 4. 103 tends to grapes. Moves to the third column, price, which is equal to 60. So it will give the return 60. So our ultimate result is 60. In lookup function, always remember that true tends to approximate match, useful for range like the tax slabs. False tends to exact match, that is the commonly used, and lookup value must be in the first column of the table. Next is the HLOOKUP function. Use this function when data is structured in a rows instead of the column. For example, if you want the price of ID 103, then the formula should be HLOOKUP 103 B1 to E2, 2 and false, which gives you the result 60. Okay. Next is the count and counta. Like consider this table. We have a formula for the count B2 to B5, which gives the result 2. Only 120 and 150 are the numbers. And here the formula 2 for the is the counta, that is counta B2 to B5, gives the result 3, that is 120, 150 and text. Got it? Use count function for numerical analysis and counta for counting field cells regardless of the data type. This is the main difference. Then the next function is concatenate or the text join. It joins the multiple text string into one. This is the formula. This is the older formula for the concatenate and the newer one is for the text join. For example, consider the following table. So our old Excel formula is concatenate A2 B2. So the result here is the Sumit Sharma, and the formula by using the formula 2 here with the text join, result is also Sumit Sharma. So use text join in a modern Excel. It is more flexible, allows delimiters, ignores the blanks. Next is the round, round up and round down function. Round is for the rounds to nearest value. Round up tends to always round up and round down always rounds down. Okay. For example, if a cell contains 123.4567. So round off this number tends to 123.46. Okay, and round up for this is 123.46 and round down is 123.45. These functions are essential in financial engineering and scientific calculation where decimal precision matters. Now we will cover the text function in Excel. These are super important for cleaning, formatting and analyzing the text data. First one is the len function. The len function returns the number of characters in a text string including spaces, punctuation and numbers. Len is useful for checking string length, for example password, ID numbers, phone numbers. Okay, the formula is len of text. Consider this table. So here Excel tends to 5 letter and Excel words that tends to 11 character, that is 10 letter plus 1 space. Next is the trim function. Trim removes the extra space from text, leaving only single spaces between the words. The formula for trim function is trim of text. Consider this text. Trim is very useful in data cleaning when you imported the data contains irregular spaces. Next is the left function. It extracts a given number of characters from the left side of the text. The formula is left of text, numchars. Consider this table. For this table result is Excel. You can get that, right? Left is often used to extract codes, initials or parts of IDs. Next is the right function. For the right function, formula should be right of text, numchars. This right function extracts a given number of characters from the right side of the text. For example, here text is the Excel word. Formula to be used is right of A2 to 5. So the result we have word. Only text is word. Okay. Right is useful for extracting suffixes, last digit of IDs. Okay. Next is the mid function. For the mid function, formula is mid of text, start num, numchars. Okay. This extra function characters from the middle of the text string. For example, consider this table. Here we can get the result CELW. Okay, it starts from the third character. So here this is the text, that is Excel word. So the third character is C and it take a 4 character, that is CELW. Got this? Mid is perfect for extracting substrings. For example, middle digit of IDs or part of an address or the product codes like this. Okay. Then the next function is upper, lower and proper. And the formula of these three are like this. Upper tends to convert the text to the uppercase. Lower is the convert text to the lowercase, and proper tends to capitalizes the first letter of each word. For example, consider this table. Here text is the Excel word. Okay, so the formula of upper is A2. So our result is all in uppercase like this. Okay. These are useful for standardizing the text data like names, addresses and titles. Next is the rep function. This rep function repeats a text string a specific number of times. For example, the formula is to have rep of text, number times. So the rep of hi, 3. The result we get is hi, hi, hi. Just 3 times of hi. Okay. The word hi is repeated in 3 times. Got it? Then the next function is the substitute function. The substitute function replaces the specific text in a string. Unlike the replace, it targets actual text values. The formula of this is substitute text old, text new, text and instant of the num. Okay. For example, if A2 is equal to I like Java, so substitute A2, Java, Excel. This gives the result I like Excel. Okay, here Java is replaced by the Excel. Then the replace function. Replace character in a string based on the position, not the exact text. Formula for this is the replace old text, start num, num character and new text. If A2 is equal to Excel, so we have to replace A2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we get the result E1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. Starting from the character 2, it replaces 3 character XCE with 1, 2, 3. You got this? Let's now dive into date and time function in Excel. These are very important for reports, timelines, payrolls and the age calculation. In date and time function, first function is the today function. Formula for the today is today of function. It returns the current date from your computer system log. For example, if today's date is 2nd September 2025, so we have the formula today of function, so we get the result 02 September 2025. Okay, today updates automatically every day when you open the workbook. Next is the now function. Formula for the now function is now of function. It returns the current date time. If it's 2nd September 2025 at 4:30 p.m. So now of function will give the result 2nd September 2025 16:30. Okay, this is the time. Useful for time stamping reports or logging when an entry was created. Next is the day, month, year function. For the formula we have day of date, month of date and year of date. Day tends to extract the day number 1 to 31, month tends to extract the month number 1 to 12 and year extracts the year, for example 2025. Okay. For example, if cell A2 contains 2nd September 2025. So we got the result day of A2 result is 2, month of A2 result is 9 and year of A2 will get the 2025. These functions are great for breaking down dates into separate parts. Okay. Next is DATEDIF function. This DATEDIF function calculates the difference between two dates in years, month or dates. The formula of DATEDIF function is like this: start date, end date and unit. Okay. For example, suppose start date is 1st January, that is 1 January 2000. And end date is 2nd September 2025. So if we use the formula DATEDIF A2, B2, Y, then it result is 25. That is year 2025 is 25 result, 25 year. Okay. And DATEDIF A2, B2, M, this gives the result 307. DATEDIF A2, B2, D, that is day, it gives the result 9332. DATEDIF A2, B2, Y and years and DATEDIF A2, B2, YM and months, it gives the overall result 25 years 8 months. Okay, you got this. DATEDIF is excellent for age calculation, employee service period and project duration. Next is the weekday function. Weekday function returns the day of the week as a number. The formula for the weekday function is weekday of date and return type. 1 is equal to Sunday, 2 is equal to Monday, like that 7 is equal to Saturday. This is the default weekday type. Okay. For example, if A2 is equal to 2nd September 2025 Tuesday, so weekday of A2 which gives the result 3 and text of A2 D which gives the result Tuesday. Okay. Weekday is useful for attendance system, shift planning and schedules. Remember this. Okay. Next is a network days function. Network days function calculates the working days between two dates, excludes weekdays and excludes holidays too. So the formula of this function is network's day, start date, end date and holidays. Okay. If A2 is equal to 1 January 2025 and B2 is 10 Jan 2025. So network days function of A2, B2 which gives the result 8 between January of 1 and January of 10 which gives the 10 days total, 2 are weekend. So it's 8 working days. Okay. Now let's move into the financial function in Excel. These are especially important in business, accounting, banking and investment analysis. First one is the PMT function. The PMT function calculates the fixed loan repayment EMI amount for a loan or the investment based on constant interest rate and the fixed payment period. The formula for the PMT function is PMT, rate, NPR, PV, FV and type. Rate tends to interest rate per period. NPR is the total number of periods. PV is the present value, that is the loan amount. FV is optional future value, which first default is the 0 and type is the optional. that tends to 0. The payment at the end, one payment for at beginning. Okay. For example, loan of 1 lakh, annual interest rate 12%, tenure is 12 months. Okay. So the PMT of 12% of 12, then comma 12, then minus 1 lakh. Then the result we got is minus of 8884.88. So here 12% of 12 is the monthly interest rate, which is equal to 1%, and 12 here is the 12 months, and 1 lakh is the loan amount. Here is the negative because it's ongoing. So result monthly EMI is the 8884.88. Okay. Next is the FV function. The FV function calculates the future value of investment after a given number of periods with the fixed interest. The formula is FV of rate, NPER, PMT, PY and type. For example, you invest 5,000 per month at 8% annual interest for 10 years. We use the formula as FV 8% to 12, then 120 and then minus 5,000, which gives the result 915601. Okay, here 8 to 12% is the monthly rate, 120 is the 10 years into 12 months, and minus 5,000, that is the monthly deposit, negative because it is the outflow, and result is the future value of investment, which is 915601. Okay. Next is the NPV function. The NPV function calculates the net present value of an investment based on the future cash flows and a discount rate. Formula for the NPV is the rate, value 1 and then value 2. For example, discount rate is the 10% and cash flow is rupees 10,000, investment rupees 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 and 6,000. So NPV of 10%, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 minus 10,000. So result we give the 3,169 rupees. Here NPV is the present value of future cash flows, that is the initial investment. Positing NPV is the profitable project. Next is the IRR function. The IRR function calculates the internal rate of the return, the discount rate at which NPV, which is equal to 0. The formula of this is the IRR values and the guess. For example, we have the investment minus 10,000, which gives the return 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 and 6,000. So we got the formula IRR minus 10,000, then 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 and 6,000. So the result we will get 14.45%, as IRR is the expected annual return on investment, and if RRR is greater than is equal to cost of capital, then the project is profitable. Let's continue with the advanced lookup functions. These are very powerful in Excel, especially when you work with the large database. First function is the match function. This match function returns the position of a lookup value in a range. Formula is match of lookup value, lookup array and then match type. Here lookup value is the value you want to find, lookup array is the range of cells to search in, and match type is 1 is equal to less than, then 0 which is equal to exact match, and minus 1 equal to greater than. Okay. For example, consider the table of items and cells. We have a formula match of grapes A2 to A5 0, which gives the result 3, as grape is in the third item in the list of A2 to A5. Got it? Next is the index function. The index function returns the value of a cell at a specific row and the column position. Formula of index is the array, row num and the column num. For example, using the same table, formula to be used is B2 to B5, 3, which gives the ultimate result 150. That is from the range B2 to B5, the third value is 120. 150, that is the sales of grapes. Okay. Next is the index plus match, that is the combination function. This combination of index and match is the better alternative to VLOOKUP because it can look both left and right. Okay. For example, if you want to find the sales of grapes, we can use the formula index B2 to B5 match grapes A2 to A5, 0. So here match grapes A2 to A5, 0 gives the return 3, and index B2 to B5 3 returns the value in the third row, which is equal to 150. So we got the result as a 150. Unlike the VLOOP, index plus match can search in any direction. Just remember this. Next is the HLOOKUP function, that is in modern Excel we can use HLOOKUP function. This HLOOKUP function is the modern replacement for VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. It is more powerful and flexible. The formula for this is XLOOKUP, lookup value, lookup array, return array. If not found, then match mode and then search mode. For example, find the sales of grapes. So we can use the formula XLOOKUP grapes A2 to A5 then B2 to B5, which gives the ultimate result 150. This key benefit of this is can search the left and right, allows the custom message if not found, that is not available, and no need for column index numbers. For example, with the error handling, we have the formula like XLOOKUP pineapple A2 to A5 B2 to B5 and not found, so result is not found. Next is data handling and error handling function. These are essential when working with the messy data, preventing errors and filtering results. First one is the if error function. If error function return a custom result if a formula causes an error, otherwise it returns the normal result. The formula for this is the if error value, value if error. For example, if this is the table, we can use the if error to replace the error #div 0 to #na etc. with the clean message. Okay. Next is the isNumber and isText function. Formula for this is equal to isNumber and then value and isText and then value. IsNumber tends to check if a value is a number. IsText tends to check if a value is a text. Okay. These functions are useful for data validation and cleaning important data. Next is the search function. The search function finds the position of substring inside the text, which is the case sensitive. The formula for the search function is search, find text within text and then smart num. For example, consider this table. Here we got the text Excel word and result is 7 and the Excel word result is 1 for the search Excel and the A2. Okay, search is a case insensitive. Excel and Excel return the same result. Next is the find function. The find function is like a search but the case sensitive. The formula for the find function is find text within text and then start num. For example, consider this table. Here find is trigger because it requires the exact case match. Next is the filter function which used in a modern Excel. This filter function returns only the rows that meet the certain condition. The formula for this filter function is filter of array, include and if empty. For example, consider this table. Here formula you use the filter set which is greater than 100. So filter of A2 to B5, B2 to B5 greater than 100 and no match. So the result we get is item apples and sales 120, grapes which sells 150 and mangoes which sells 140. The filter is very powerful for dashboards and the dynamic reports. Next function is the sort function which also used in modern Excel. This sort function sorts the data dynamically without using the data, that is the start option. Sort of array, then sort index, then sort order and by call. For example, formula sort cell ascending, the sort B2 of B5 which gives the result 90, 120, 140 and 150. Then the formula sorts item with the cell descending, that is sort A2 to B5 to -1 which gives the result like this. Grapes is 150, mangoes 140, apples 120 and bananas 90. Sort is a great for auto updating sorted list when the data changes. Let's continue with statistical and logical function in Excel. These are used heavily in reporting, dashboards and conditional analysis. First one is the mean function. Mean function return the smallest value in a range of numbers, that is mean number 1 or number 2. For example, this is the sale column which is 120, 90, 150 and 140. So if we use the formula mean of A2 to A5, then it will give the result 90. The minimum sale is 90. Then next is the max function. Max function return the largest value in a range of number. Formula is max number 1, number 2. So with the same example, formula is max of A2 to A5, so it will give the result 150. The maximum cell is 150. Then the next function is the large function. Large function return the kth largest value from the data set. If you use the large function of array comma k, so the large of a2 to a5 comma 2, which gives the result 140. The second largest cell is 140, so it gives the result 140. Got it? Then the next is the small function. Return the kth smallest value from a database. Small of array k. For example, if you use the formula small of a2 to a5 comma 2, then it gives the result set 120. The second smallest cell is 120. Next is the add function. And logical 1, logical 2. It returns the true if all conditions are true, otherwise it will get false. For example, formula and a2 is greater than 100, a2 is less than 100. So if a2 is equal to 120 tends to true. So 120 is greater than 100 and less than 200, so it gives the value true. Next is the OR function. OR function returns the true if any condition true, otherwise it will get false. For example, if you use the formula OR, a2 is greater than 200, comma a2 is equal to 120. So if a2 is equal to 120, it tends to true. At least one condition a2 is equal to 120 is true. Next is the NOT function. NOT function reverse the logical result. NOT of logical. So formula is NOT of a2 is greater than 100 if a2 is equal to 120 tends to false. Though since 120 is greater than 100 is true, not true because it's false. Next is the unique function, which is also used in modern Excel. It extracts the unique values from a range and removes the duplicates. For example, this is the item, and if you use the formula unique of a2 to a5, so it gives the result as a unique items: apple, mangoes and bananas. The duplicate apple is removed automatically. Next is the mod function in Excel. The mod function returns the remainder after dividing one number by another. It is useful in mathematical calculation, scheduling, repeating pattern and identifying even or odd numbers. The formula syntax for the mod function is mod of number comma divisor, where number is the value to be divided and divisor is the number to be divided by. For example, simple division remainder, mod of 10 comma 3, which gives the result 1, as 10 divided by 3 is equal to 3 and remainder is 1. So mod extract the remainder, so the answer is 1. Another example is even odd check. In the even odd check, if we got the formula like mod of 15 comma 2, so the result we will get 1. If mod of number comma 2 is equal to 0, so which tends to the number is even. If mod of number comma 2 is equal to 1, it tends to the number is odd. Here 15 is a odd, so remainder is 1. So we have the result 1. Let's understand with another example as positive remainder with the negative numbers. Consider this example with the formula mod of minus 10 comma 3, which gives the ultimate result 2, where minus 10 divided by 3 is equal to minus 3, so remainder is 2. Excel ensures the remainder has the same sign as the divisor. Now consider the following table. Suppose you want to assign the task to 3 employees in a rotation. So using the mod allows repeating cycle 1 2 0 1 2 like that for assigning task. If you want to convert the minutes into hours by leftover minutes, so mod of 125 comma 60 gives the ultimate result 5. Here 125 minutes is equal to 2 hours and 5 minutes leftover. Mod helps finding the leftover parts. Remember this. The mod function is small but powerful. It plays a crucial role in mathematical, logical and scheduling problems. From dictating even odd numbers to handling cycles and time calculation, mod is widely applied in both academic and business scenarios. In this section, we will cover some of the most important and commonly used functions. But remember, Microsoft Excel has a wide range of additional formulas and tools beyond what we explore here. These are just the top top and most essential ones to get you started. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you were able to understand these Excel functions and formulas clearly. Keep practicing regularly, explore more functions and apply them to real life problems to strengthen your skill. If you want this helpful, don't forget to leave your thoughts or question in the comment section below. I'll be happy to guide you further. Keep learning and study well.